What's up, guys? Abstract Tiger here, and we are now outside a theater. We have just came out of watching a movie, one that I have actually been kind of waiting on. Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves.
Yes.
My first initial thoughts: good movie, really good movie. Wasn't nearly as funny, but it was still good. Still a really good story. Much better than the 2004 one. For those of you who know about that one. Chris Pine as the Bard. Really good. Michelle Rodriguez as the Well, I wouldn't say she's more of a fighter rather than a barbarian.
Yeah, they classify her as a barbarian in the marketing, though.
But yeah,
so,
I guess, yeah. But she's, because she actually wears armor. Most barbarians are skin only.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't classify that as armor. I thought it was just like leather plating because, modesty.
Yes. Well, that too.
Yeah.
And then we had Justice Smith as a sorcerer.
Mm-hmm.
I recognized him from the Detective Pikachu movie.
Yep, that's exactly right. He's also he's also from the Jurassic World franchise.
Yes,
he's the one that works with Bryce Dallas Howard's character.
I haven't seen that, but that's okay. All right. And then Sophia Lillis. I don't know who she is. She's new to me.
She played young Beverly in the It movies, the new It movies that just came out.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, so that's basically her background. I can't think of anything else she's been in. I'm pretty sure she kind of just after It took a break, and then this is it.
All right.
Because of the pandemic.
Okay. Well, overall, good movie. Good movie. There is one mid-credit scene which I pretty much called. I was sitting there. We had a couple other people in our group that went with us. They were going to be joining us, but unfortunately, we're not able to stay. But that's all right. They enjoyed it, as far as I know. I did pick up on, for those of us who are old enough to remember, like moi.
Moi.
Yeah. There is also another Easter egg that I really caught, and for those of you who are kids of the 80s and watch Saturday morning cartoons when that was actually a thing back in the 80s, Easter egg, spoiler warning right here. If you don't want to know this, skip ahead to where you will see the end of spoiler tag. Okay? Yep. This is probably going to be the only spoiler in the entire video because this is a non-spoiler review. All right. But for those of you who are 80s cartoon fans, or at least you will now, there was a Dungeons and Dragons cartoon. As we were leaving the theater, I happened to turn around and glance at the screen, and I saw 5 names scroll by. I'm like, I know that name, I know that name, I know that name, I know that name. They weren't like actor or people's names, they were character names from the show. Alright, spoilers. Okay, there was Bobby the Barbarian. He was a little kid. Okay, the TV show revolved around basically these 5 modern day people being sucked into the world of D&D.
Okay.
Okay, and they were trying to find their way home.
Jumanji style?
Kind of, sort of, but a lot more dangerous.
Fair enough.
They didn't really use, there's a lot of different terms they used. They simplified the characters down. There was an archer, there was a magician, there was an acrobat, there was they called her a thief, but she was more of like stealth woman.
Okay.
But, alright, for those of you, those main people there are actually in the film.
Yep.
I was not completely aware of it, though subconsciously I'm like, those costumes on screen look very familiar on this certain group of people.
Oh, okay. Now I know what you're talking about.
Yes,
Okay.
it was during it's during a arena scene.
Yeah.
So that's all I'm going to say. Spoilers over. So,
Okay.
welcome back to the non-spoiler portion again. Hi. All right, I have said my fill. What did you think?
Okay, I very much enjoyed this movie. It's not, it's what I expected to get, but it's not what I was hoping. Not to get into spoilers or anything, but I was thinking it was going to be more meta than it was. I was expecting at some point in the film, or possibly even a post credits, for it to like pull back into like the real world and find out that they were just playing a D&D campaign the whole time.
So you were expecting Matt Mercer to show up?
No. Like Chris Pine playing his character,
okay.
Michelle Rodriguez playing her character. You know, that kind of a thing. But it's,
okay.
And then it's like the dungeon master being Joe Manganiello.
Okay.
Would have been like perfect.
And they're on the set of Detective Pikachu 2. Okay. Ryan Reynolds walks up and says, "Hey guys, you got room for one more?"
No, our campaign is full.
No.
Now, I do have a question for you, because I'm coming at this from the movie side of things. You're coming from the Dungeons and Dragons side of things.
Okay.
Was this an original story, or is it based on a campaign that exists currently?
As far as I'm aware of, this is just a story.
Okay, so they wrote this specifically for the film.
Yeah, they wrote this pretty much for the film.
I didn't know if it was an adaptation of a current campaign or
no. It's not like Legends of Vox Machina, which is an adaptation of an actual campaign.
Okay. See,
I guess
everyone was comparing it to Vox Machina, so that's why I was asking if.
Now you can't really do that because, well, there's a completely different tone shift between the two.
Absolutely.
With Legends of Vox Machina, for those of you who have seen that show, I have watched both seasons. I absolutely love it. However, it is something you do not take children to.
Right.
This you can take children to.
Yeah,
so, this is,
I didn't know if
this is PG. Vox Machina is definitely 13. Hard 13. Maybe even.
I was like
know.
TV mature, I believe. Is
EMA,
what it's listed
TV
as on,
EMA, yes, that's
Prime
true.
Video.
Yeah.
Okay, so acting wise, I absolutely loved it. Hugh Grant, I'm a huge fan of Hugh Grant. His character, it's the same character he always plays, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm saying it's like a caricature of himself. And
unless you get into the Diary of what's her face,
Bridget Jones' Diary.
Bridget Jones' Diary.
That's what I was saying. Like, we actually just watched all the Bridget Jones movies not too long ago, so I was introducing Hugh Grant to Robin, and seeing him pop up in this was actually really funny, especially since he's been doing more comedic.
Yes.
Roles. I was gonna say
less
like
serious,
like architect type roles. Like in The Gentleman, he was like essentially the villain of the story. You didn't think he was the villain, but he was actually the villain. His little cameo in Glass Onion, just things like that. His little Hugh Grantness, he's sprinkling it in cinema these days.
Okay.
And I absolutely love that. Chris Pine, I keep forgetting how good he can sing.
Yeah.
Yes,
from what? Yeah, I think he actually did perform. Though he may have ADR'd a lot of it, but he actually did do the singing.
Well, he was in the musical Into the Woods.
Yeah.
And so, like, I keep forgetting how good of a singer he really is. I don't picture him as a song and dance band, and then he pops up in this. And
as the bard.
He's
bard,
so he's going to sing, obviously.
Which, obviously, this is before version 5e of D&D, because bards now are broken.
I was like, I don't know what that means.
Well, early editions, they were pretty much, I'm just going to sing and dance and be a distraction, and that's about all I can do, because I don't have anything else I can do. But now they have retooled it several times, and now they actually can do things actually useful in a campaign, rather than just be the guy who
drinks, sings, and sleeps with everyone. Yeah, I get that. It's an actual character archetype. It's a thing.
Even though he didn't portray, even though his character, Chris Pine's character in this, did two of those things: drink and sing,
Yeah.
He didn't.
No.
Yeah.
They toned down that part of the bard,
Yes.
which I very much enjoyed.
Yeah.
Made
Made him a family man.
Yeah. I wonder, honestly, if they changed some of the adaptation that they did for the bard character for Chris Pine, because I read that someone else was supposed to play him and they dropped out at the last minute, so Chris Pine was like who they got after the fact. But because of The Witcher, the toss a coin to your Witcher becoming so popular and all this stuff, if they put in more of the musical aspect, because Chris Pine is a performer.
Yeah.
But overall, I really enjoyed the movie. The soundtrack was amazing.
Yes.
Visual
effects was fantastic. I don't remember seeing anything that was like overly, like ridiculously campy, except for maybe one part involving putting treasure into somebody's place as opposed to taking treasure out of somebody's place.
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed that scene. I was like, that is really cool.
Like, that's neat.
And Rob was like, that was a lot. And I was like, but the without giving any spoilers, but the chase scene with the druid.
Which time?
When she first gets caught.
Oh.
When she first gets caught by Sabrina.
Okay.
Or whatever her name was.
Yeah.
Weird names in these movies. When she first gets caught and she basically gets chased through town.
Okay. Yes.
I didn't get to see all of the changes, but what I did see...
The deer.
Yeah, the deer, yes. Well, I didn't want to give anything away.
So,
but I didn't get to see all the changes, like, graphic-wise.
Right, yeah.
But what I did see, they looked amazing.
Yes.
That was probably the best CGI of the movie, was the changing of the druid. Yes. I loved the dragon.
Which one? The fat one?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Because they've been releasing, trailers.
That was in the trailer, so there was a fat.
Yeah, but I don't remember the trailer actually showing the dragon in its full robustness. I just remember seeing the head come out and then cutting to the next scene.
I remember seeing the fatness.
Okay, so I don't. Now, is that an actual thing? Are red dragons like?
No,
bulky?
They are not.
Okay.
I think this was just a funny
nod
to, all right.
Okay.
Yeah, you're expecting this big, huge, scary, something like Smaug.
Right,
or,
yeah.
Something like that to come out of this hole or whatever. Nope, we got the big fat one from...
Did he eat his old cave?
Yeah.
That joke was funny. Question.
From How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah. The dragon Raynor that they use in the backstory. The Paladin's backstory.
Okay.
I believe it was Raykor or Raynor or whatever it's...
Something. Our name.
Black goo coming out of its mouth that was not actual fire. Is that a thing from Dungeons and Dragons, or was that this?
There are different types of dragons. They don't just all breathe fire. There are ice type dragons. There are acid. There are straight up poison. There are lightning. And
was that one basically just shooting pitch? Because I noticed that it would burst into flame after the fact when it would get hit by a fireball.
That I'm not really sure.
So
I didn't know if it was just like
tar and pitch.
Something. I didn't really pick up on it.
Because it was flammable. It was just like black and they're covered with it, and then someone. Oh, now it's an explosion.
Yes.
So I didn't know if that was the thing. I'm coming at this strictly from one side. I've only ever played one campaign in my life. And it was nothing like what we just experienced.
Right. Now, unless there's something in like any of the expansions, there's nothing quite like that in 5e, but that doesn't mean much coming from me because I'm still a bit of a noob on it. I kind of wish Jonathan and Lauren would have been able to stay because we're actually doing a campaign, not on, for anything, it's just in our personal stuff. And one of the things, the end game is to fight a dragon.
Nice.
But it's a nice dragon. Nothing, so, yeah. Pack your cold gear.
Pack your cold gear.
All right. Well, in relations to the movie, I give this a good, solid 7.5 out of 10. For me, personally. I was expecting maybe a little bit more humor, but I think I spoiled myself by watching Legend of Vox Machina first.
Right, yeah.
Because that's loaded with a whole lot more humor in it than this was. Not to saying there wasn't any humor in it, but it was way toned down than what I was used to. But that's just me. I could probably bump that up to an 8 if somebody convinces me. But, you know, that's just my thoughts.
I'd probably be at a solid 8, only for the fact that I really, movie-wise, I really enjoyed it. Storyline-wise, it was easy to follow, ironically,
Yes.
for a Dungeons & Dragons campaign. I really enjoyed we did all that for nothing kind of aspect that they went with. I didn't even talk about Ray Sean Page as the Paladin.
Oh.
Was
Yes,
it was amazing. They set it up for a sequel.
Yes.
It looked really good.
If they do another one, I would definitely go see it.
The reason why it's an 8 and not anything higher is because I was hoping that they would go meta with it.
Oh.
I was really hoping that, because they made a Dungeons and Dragons movie without it being a Dungeons and Dragons movie. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that, but I don't think that, that's not what they were, most of the people are wanting out of that.
No, but with Chris McKay writing the story, I would have expected something meta like that. So that's
maybe
the
an
only
initial
complaint I
draft
really
or
have.
something like that he did. He probably had something like that, but they wanted to guys go a little bit more.
Well, if they even wanted to be even
with it.
more meta, if it would have been a Dungeons and Dragons campaign over like a Zoom meeting, like they did when they were playing Among Us in Glass Onion, just little things like that could have just, I don't know. Yeah, I really enjoyed the movie. Highly recommend you go out and see it if you haven't seen
Go
it
see it in
already.
the theaters.
If you have seen it, go see it again. The only way to get a sequel is to build the box office, and it deserves it.
Yes.
Um,
And what would you rate it?
I would say 8.5.
she really enjoyed
Only,
it.
I mean, yeah. I liked the ending. It got me better than any of it, but that's just, I guess it touched me a little more personal, so yeah, it was, 8.5.
Okay. All right. I don't have anything else really.
Mm-mm.
You've pretty much touched on the more cinematic sides of it, like the music and stuff like that.
Yep. That's what I'm here for.
Lore. Not data, but lore. Picard, for those of you who have not. All right. On that idiotic note, thank you for joining us on this movie review. Bye-bye and be blessed, everyone.